recent months, there has been an orchestrated attack from the political left against radio host Rush Limbaugh. Now, we heard him attacked on TV and from behind the White House podium. But where did this plan originate? Now, earlier I sat down with the mastermind of this attack rush strategy, and that's former pollster for Bill Clinton and partner of James Carville, also the author of the brand new book, Dispatches from the War Room, Stanley Greenberg. Let's take a look. How you doing?
I am delighted to be here.
All right, so it's you and Carville, and you've got this polling company. How long have you been working with Carville? The War Room. Exactly, the War Room. How long have you been working?
Since the beginning of time, but certainly since Clinton's War Room, and talk to him every day. Talk to him 7 o'clock in the morning. He calls.
Now, were you on that
maybe 10
call?
times a day?
Now, we heard about the call that goes between Carville and Limbaugh. Dead fish. We'll get to that in a minute.
Right.
And George Stephanopoulos. Are you in on that call?
I'm on the Carville call.
You're on the Carville call. Oh,
there's a string.
All right,
I'm on the Carville call.
Do you speak to Rahm Emanuel a lot?
A lot, sure.
You do. And you speak to Stephanopoulos a lot? You're all part of that?
I do.
Okay. You speak to. Are you ever a part of the call? You know what I'm talking about. Come on.
The call?
The call. That was heavily reported.
No, not the call.
Yeah, all right. You know what? Why do I feel I'm being parsed here? All right. let me ask you this, because you made a lot of news because the White House adopted the strategy that you and Carville came up with in Begala. And that is that, we polled Rush Limbaugh. We're going to target him. We're going to demonize him. And they went out and used your polling numbers to attack the biggest radio talk shows in the country.
Look, there's no doubt our poll number showed that. I know it's not true with your audience, but I can tell you in the country as a whole, he's not a very popular figure.
Among 40 and under.
40 and under, but, broadly not. Certainly with independents, maybe even with moderate Republicans.
He's not a
popular figure.
Can I tell you something? He is at the height of his radio popularity.
I know. But he's taken a lead in criticizing the president. He's called politicians to task. He's not just a, host. He's a very effective player.
Me in this?
I didn't, but I promise.
No, don't. I've been attacked by Obama enough.
Next poll you're in.
All right, but let me ask you this. Don't you think with the economy the way it is, that here you and Carville do a poll in Begala, and then there's Limbaugh, your pal, your phone buddy, and you guys go out and purposely set out, not to solve the economic problems, that the President of the United States sets out with an agenda in his White House to attack a radio talk show host?
There's two parts to this. One is the question of, do Republicans want this president to fail? How do we account for the fact in his first initiatives that virtually no Republicans back him in that initiative?
Because they disagree with him.
But there are clearly some members of Congress, Republicans, who wanted to vote for it and chose not to.
Wait a minute.
There are pressures on the Republican side that bring that kind of unity.
What about the polls? Wait a minute. There was a Fox News opinion dynamic.
Be proud of that.
You like polls. Fox News opinion dynamics poll in 2006, 51% of Democrats wanted him to fail. On September 11th, your partner, James Carville, said before the attacks that he wanted Bush.
Talking about the poll numbers.
And wait a minute.
And by the way, and speaking for myself, I said the American people do not want him to fail. That we had numbers that said almost a majority thought he was over his head, which was a staggering number for a president of the United States.
But Rush said he wanted socialism to fail. His words were purposefully distorted, because I interviewed him back in February. And he said if he adopted Reagan like he did Abe Lincoln and FDR, sure, I'd want him to succeed.
You're at a moment of crisis. You're at a moment of economic crisis, and leaders of the party, leaders of the conservative movement are pulling back, maybe even hoping that it'll fail. 9/11 hit. It doesn't matter what your approach was to the war on terrorism. 9/11 hit. Everybody was on the same side. Right. Everybody was with.
We have an economic crisis. Obama tells us every day it's the worst since the Great Depression, and the White House targets an individual. You don't see anything wrong with them using your polling data to attack one person?
What I saw was Rahm Emanuel on a Sunday show say he has said he wants the president to fail, and that's what he focused on, and that's what the debate centered on.
All right, let me ask you about Rahm Emanuel, by the way. Page 42.
Long-term buddy, helped marry my daughter.
I pushed to get Rahm.
I was in his wedding.
I pushed to get Rahm, who would suffer no fools when pursuing a goal and agenda. When Rahm, in an earlier campaign, failed to bond with another pollster, he sent him a dead fish. Now, by the way, I call Rahm Emanuel dead fish because Because of that. Now, it sounds like the mob to me.
This is a much earlier age. This is
Oh,
a much
okay.
earlier age, a more youthful, more youthful, exuberant period. But Rahm set a tone. Rahm, you know, there was a change, and maybe conservatives are following it now as well. What Bill Clinton did, the War Room, which my book writes about and expands on, was the idea that, look, Democrats are not saps. They, liberal saps, roll over, weak. What Bill Clinton and his campaign did said, we respond, we're fast, we're tough.
They were. I watched the War Room.
Okay,
You guys were good.
We're on a tough campaign, and that's what. And Rahm was part of that.
Are there any conservatives you like?
Any conservatives that I like? I'm sure that's true as leaders. I like Bob Dole. Is he a conservative?
No. Is there any? You want the country. You're happy with the Obama dragging the country to European socialism. You like it,
but take Tony Blair. You like Tony Blair. Tony Blair is a leader who was changing the Labor Party, an old Labor Party that, had to break with the unions, had to go into a new age. He's also supported the United States and supported President Bush on Iraq. And I have a lot of respect for
look, as critical as I was of Bill Clinton,
right.
The era of big government's over, and we're going to end welfare as we know it.
Which he did, and ran on.
All right, he did.
And
Barack Obama is quadrupling down on all of it, and I think is leading us to a point where it is so unsustainable that even if we rob our grandkids' piggy banks, we're not going to be able to afford it.
Well, first go to Bill Clinton. I mean, I was part of that process of changing the Democratic Party
by
changing
polling.
welfare.
By polling.
By thinking through how it is you reconnect with working class
polling and attacking your enemies
with middle class America.
Just like you attacked Rush.
The heart of it.
By the way, folks, look at this. Look at the camera. This is the guy that polled along with Carville to attack Rush Limbaugh, and the White House listened. That's frightening. All right. Well, listen, Stanley, good to be with you. I've debated your buddy Carville before. It's been fun.
Thank you. Enjoy the book.
All right, Stanley, thanks for being with us. And